Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. If you're new, my name is Chris and I do my fragrance videos by the pool in the summer. Today's video is all about the note of lemon. It seems to be a very hot fragrance note right now. Lord knows I have a gajillion fragrances that feature the note of lemon, and I have always been a huge lover of lemon because I find the note very refreshing. I love it in food, I love it in fragrances, and I have been a long time lover of that note. And as such, I have accumulated several fragrances with a prominent note of lemon. Now, this is not a complete list. I'm trying to keep most of my videos a little bit shorter and more condensed and closer to the 10 perfume range. So I gathered 10. Some of them are gourmand, some of them are more floral, some of them are fresh, and there are some unisex fragrances mixed in. So there is something for everybody in here. And with that, I'm just going to get started. I'm just going to grab and go. There's no rhyme or reason. So the first one I picked is one by Theodorus, Galatinas, and it's called Lemon Tart. It is a new release of this year, and it's getting a lot of hype, at least on Instagram. And I'm a big fan of the house. I have several fragrances from the house, and a bunch of people were kind of doing a bulk order on Instagram, and I went ahead and joined in the fun, even though I hadn't sampled it first. I'm trying to do more sampling before I buy a full bottle, but what made it a little bit easier to do that is that these fragrances are on the affordable side for this big bottle. I think it was like 50 euros, I want to say. But anyways, so this is supposed to be a very, very gourmand lemon fragrance, and I will say that for the most part, it is. I definitely understand the vibe of lemon tart, but there is, I've worn it several times. There is a little bit of spiciness in here, and a little bit of nuttiness, and a little bit of freshness. So it definitely is gourmand, and it is sweet and very, very lemony, but it has almost a little nuttiness in here, almost like if you've ever made brown butter. When you cook that butter, it takes on a nutty aroma. So I get a little bit of a darker nuttiness in here, and also I get the slightest hint of like a lemon soap shaving in the mix. So for that reason, it's very fresh and slightly floral. For that reason, I can see how some people might think that this smells a little bit, that goes into that category of a lemon cleaner. I don't. That's not the overall vibe. It is gourmand with a slight bit of soapy freshness. I still really, really enjoy it, and it is delicious and light wearing on me. For the most part, for most of these fragrances, I layer body products, and I will talk about that at the very end. So we're going to start the list with Lemon Tart. So the next one I'm going to grab is not a gourmand, and it's very unisex, and it is a huge favorite of mine. I love it, and it's new. It is a new purchase for me as of this year, even though it's not a new fragrance. It is an MFK fragrance, and this is Petite Matin. This has a gorgeous lemon. I think it's like an Italian lemon. It's a lemon, and there's lavender, and there's a little bit of sweetness and ambroxan in here. And in the dry down, you get musk. So it's very, very unisex. And for a lemon forward fragrance, it's very long lasting, and that's probably related to the ambroxan. And there's a touch of sweetness in here. The lavender doesn't come off overly soapy or masculine. And I think because there's the note of hawthorn in here, there's like a white flower that tends to be honeyed. So that's giving the lavender a little bit of sweetness. And that's the kind of lavender I like in my fragrances. I like my lavender to be sweet and not too sharp and on the soapy piercing side. And for that reason, I absolutely love this fragrance. Again, for a lemon forward fragrance. And for a lemon forward fragrance, citrus forward fragrances, those are not intended to last long just by the nature of citrus notes. They burn off the quickest. This one lasts. Gorgeous fragrance for me, and I would wear this in spring summer and early fall. Now, as somebody who is a content creator, there is always a little bit of pressure or encouragement that, you know, to be on top of some of the newest releases. I'm not as hyper about getting all the new releases, but it's fun. I always have an interest in whatever's new or getting or trying out new releases. That being said, I am still a lover of the classics. You are always going to see classics in my collection because classics are called classics for a reason, and a classic lemon fragrance is Chanel Chance Eau Fraiche. If you are new to me, then you will not know that this is my second bottle. I almost went through another bottle, but I had it for so long and I didn't store it properly when I first got it, so it went bad. So I love this so much. It's such a staple. It's such a lemon fresh classic. It's a beautiful classic. I will always have this in my collection, and it's a gorgeous lemon fragrance. Another lemon fragrance that is lemon forward, but the lemon doesn't burn off right away. So it has lemon, it has a little bit of cedar, there's musk, a little bit of florals, but the lemon stays around for most of the fragrance, and that's why it's such a gorgeous freshie. I think it is such a universally appealing freshie that has great longevity. I have complimented other people wearing this at Target, at swim meets. It's a great fragrance, and I can't imagine my collection without Chanel Chance Eau Fraiche. Another new pickup for me this year by the House of Sillage, and listen, this fragrance I give great kudos to because they have every one of their perfumes in a sample discovery set or some sort of set. You do not have to ever blind buy these. It is easily available on the website as long as the website ships to your country. But I was immediately interested in Hufflepuff when the Harry Potter collaboration came out because I knew it was a citrusy vanilla. And I tried it and it was like, boom, I ordered it that day. And it is a big love for me. This is a gourmand fragrance. This is a gourmand lemon fragrance. This smells like a lemon chiffon cake with like a peachy orange drizzle, syrupy drizzle, and it has a little bit of coconut in here, so all those notes come through. My mother, who was in town when I first got this fragrance, I wore it knowing she's not a fan of gourmands and she hates a note of coconut. Well, she dislikes the note of coconut because long ago a pina colada had the nerve to attack her and she didn't feel great the next morning, and now she can't ever smell coconut. Anyways, she smelled it on me. She said, "Oh, I can smell your perfume." And I said, "Oh, do you like it?" She goes, "No, no, it's too sweet. I don't like it," which was funny. And then later on that day, hours passed, and I took them to the airport, gave them a hug, and then my mom was like, "Oh my gosh, you smell so good." And I'm like, Mom, that's the perfume you didn't like this morning. She goes, "Oh, I like it now." So some of that sweetness and intensity, that sweet intensity does kind of burn off, but it has great longevity, and it is a wonderful fragrance for gourmand lovers. And if you love the note of lemon and you're looking for a great lemon gourmand, this is, out of all the ones I'm going to talk about tonight, if not at the top, right there at the top. So I love my Hufflepuff. So a freshie that's not a gourmand, I've spoken about this before. This is another Theodorus Galatinas fragrance, and it's Aegean salt and citrus. There's only 3 notes listed. It is another citrusy freshie, so it has grapefruit, lemon, and salt. So it's very, very citrus forward. I'm sure there are other notes listed. I get when I'm wearing it, I get the slightest hint of something evergreeny, maybe like a cypress, something a little evergreeny, a little bit Mediterranean, and it has salt. So this is aquatic and oceanic without being like, there's no seaweed. It doesn't have that icky seaweed in it. It just smells like salty sea spray. So almost as if you were at a resort and you took a boat ride around and you're splashed with the waves or the sea mist. That's what I get. And you're drinking a lemon water or something like that. Very, very refreshing, very unisex. Another lovely, affordable, citrusy lemon fragrance with a nice added touch of salt. Okay, another gourmand that I love, that I do not wear in the summertime, and I don't plan on wearing it in the summertime, but it's one of the few fragrances, lemon fragrances, I will wear in the wintertime. And I know I have subscribers who live in the Southern Hemisphere who are going through winter right now. And I know that there are a lot of people who live in places that aren't hot like here. In the Midwest, It's cold in the winter, it's hot in the summer. It's as I'm filming, it's 5 o'clock and it's 88 degrees. So with that babble to the side, I love, one of my first lemon gourmands was Unknown Pleasures by Kerosene. And the reason why I don't wear this in the summertime, even though it is a lemon balm, it is a lemon balm with a stroopwafel, which is one of my very favorite treats. And I discovered that treat when we had a little visitor from the Netherlands who gave me a little tin of stroopwafels, and I fell head over heels in love with it, and it's been basically my little afternoon sweet treat, or my sweet treat whenever I want one. And I have my little containers of the stroopwafels all over my house. But stroopwafels are they're like waffles, like a waffle cookie with a thin layer of caramel inside. So this is a lemon balm with a stroopwafel. So it smells like waffle and it smells like caramel, almost like it's a little bit toasted. And there's the slightest hint of a tea note. It's supposed to be Earl Grey tea. I definitely get it, because if there wasn't that tea, and Earl Grey tea has a very particular scent to it, if that Earl Grey tea was not here, this would be way too sweet to be as popular as it is. And every time I wear it, everybody says something different. My daughter says I smell like a coconut cookie, and my husband says I smell like Thai food. It is a delicious, gourmand fragrance that features the note of lemon that is great, but for me, it's more of a wintertime gem. So the next one is my third fragrance from the house of Sora, Dora, and it is called Rosalend. And this is another lemon-forward gourmand fragrance that, to me, is very unisex. And I say that because it has a lot of warmer and some animalic notes that pulls it out of the overly gourmand line. And I think if it wasn't for those animalic notes, this would be my favorite from the house. And it's more like my third favorite. But that being said, I think not everybody loves gourmands like I do. The way it's composed, it's going to be more appealing to a bigger audience than those who just love their super sweet gourmand fragrances. So this has a lot of lemon. It's very citrusy, lemony, fresh in the beginning. It is like boom in your face. And it has ginger. But I don't get the typical ginger that I do get in a lot of other fragrances. The ginger in here is almost earthy, like the ginger with that skin on top, if you've ever worked with ginger. So it's not as fresh and zingy, but it still has that bite that ginger typically has, with a little bit of earthiness. Now, what I get in the opening, even though the notes I think are in the mid or in the dry down, there's civet and castoreum. And sometimes, especially civet, on me can come off a little bit like a burned fuel note. It's the same thing I get when I wear Shalimars. So that's not my favorite part of this fragrance, and I get it in the beginning. Now, fortunately, about a half an hour, 45 minutes in, that burns off and it doesn't project on me. So you might be lucky and not get that super strong animalic note on yourself, but that's how it pulls on me. Less so when I spray on skin. But for me, I love this more in the dry down. It's still lemony. It still has that lemony, citrusy goodness, freshness. But then there are some warmer, sweeter notes. There's caramel and there's vanilla. So I've had a couple people message me on Instagram that this brand is not carried everywhere, and it's true. I don't think it's at Lucky Scent quite yet, or some of the retailers that we're more familiar with. It is sold at Sora, Dora, and Javois. But I would recommend, if you're interested in any in the line, getting their Discovery set. They have a lot of good ones, and what might be somebody's favorite is not going to be somebody else's favorite. I think my favorite is Mandorle is still my favorite, and then Orchidée Rouge. So definitely, I can absolutely see this being a knock out of the park for many people. It is a strong like, not a love, but I'm glad it's part of my collection. Okay, one I just talked about. This is a fantastic fragrance. This is absolutely heat proof. One of the best heat proof fragrances I have in all of my collection. This is going to be one of the few fragrances that I would wear if it was 90 degrees and up. And this is Mediterraneo by Carthusia. I got this on a hot day in Italy. It was the only thing that appealed to me, and about the whole line, it smelled so good. So this smells like you just finished a glass of iced tea, so you've drained it. And there are ice cubes still in the glass, and then you fill your glass with lemonade, and you add a sprig of mint. So it is ice cold lemonade with sprig of mint and the slightest touch of a tea note. Super refreshing, 100% unisex. It is beautiful. The downside is it is very, very light wearing. So do not expect this to last all day. It won't. And if that's of utmost importance to you, you probably aren't going to get along with many citrus fragrances, this being one of them, because it wears so lightly. But I love it so much on hot days. I'm okay with respraying or decanting it, putting it in my backpack and respritzing as the day goes on. And again, I bought the whole body line, the shower gel and the lotion, because I love it so much. And it is a delicious lemon forward fragrance. Okay, I've got 3 more. I think I'm just gonna do 2 more because I am about to melt. But the second to last one is one that's getting all sorts of hype, and it is called Bake by Akro. This is another, as the name suggests, this is another very gourmand fragrance. The lemon in here is a little bit different. It just smells differently than a lot of the lemon fragrances that I've talked about. The lemon in here is a lemon rind, and if you make martinis or you work with lemon rind, you know what that smells like. It's different than the lemon juice. So it does have a strong lemon rind feel to it, but it's darker. So it smells like it's muted. It's muted with rum. So it smells like you took that pungent lemon rind and you soaked it in a glass of rum for like 2 days. So when you pulled it out, it still had the lemon rind smell to it or aroma, but it's kind of covered in rummy booziness. So it's a boozy lemon rind. This also has darkness from brown sugar. I think this one has brown sugar in it, so it's to the point where the brown sugar is almost caramelized. So it's almost burned, but it doesn't quite get there. So it's like a caramelized brown sugar sweetness. It has a whipped cream to it. And of course, vanilla and a little bit of praline. This smells like lemon cookie with lemon rind soaked in rum, sprinkled inside, made with brown sugar. So you substituted the real sugar with brown sugar, and you put a dollop of whipped cream on top. That's what this smells like. It is another one that's light wearing, but it doesn't disappear in an hour. So I would say it's light to moderate wearing and a delicious creation, in my opinion, for lemon gourmand lovers. But I would definitely sample this first because I know of other people who don't love it, and it is on the expensive side. So lots of places are carrying samples of this. I know Lucky Scent does. A delicious lemon fragrance that's getting a lot of hype. So the last one is one that is marketed to men, and it is one that I could easily see myself wearing, and I purchased it. But I'm probably going to be giving this to Pat for some sort of gift, and it is called Blenheim Bouquet. And this to me just smells like a proper men's cologne. This has a lot of freshness. This has a lot of those very typical, classy, fresh, aromatic scents that one finds in a fresh men's fragrance or cologne. It's got lemon, it's got lime, there's pine in here. The pine is definitely detectable. It has pepper and lavender. So it kind of smells like the notes listed. It's very fresh. You can definitely detect the pepper, but the pepper's in the background. It just gives it more masculinity, in my opinion, even though I do love pepper as a note. So to me, this smells like if you were to go to kind of an older country club at an established place, let's say in England or somewhere in Europe, or maybe the coast of California. I'm just thinking of La Jolla, and you went to like a country club or a men's club, and they were selling products. They had their own product line, or they had a gift shop, and they were selling fragrances. This is one that would probably be their signature scent. It just smells like a proper men's fragrance. It's very, very nice, and I've worn it once and tested it on paper twice, and it has decent longevity. In fact, my little blotter I sprayed in the afternoon on a weekend, and that night I still could smell it on my bedside table. So a really nice, proper lemony men's fragrance. A couple I'm not mentioning, and I don't want to melt because it's very hot, and this is now my second video. A big one that I didn't mention is Light Blue Intense, one that I almost decluttered a couple weeks ago, and I just sprayed it as almost like a last hurrah, and I wore it that day. I'm like, what am I doing? This is such a good perfume. It's such a classic. I never wear it, but it's like the perfect casual white t-shirt fragrance to wear in the summer, and so I'm not getting rid of it, even though I have other fragrances that are a little bit similar to that. I'm gonna keep it. It's a great lemon classic. It is a lemon fragrance with a little grapefruit, musk, and cedar, and it is just, in my opinion, a masterpiece freshie that I'm not ready to part ways with. So those are my lemon. Those are just a handful or 2 handfuls of my lemon fragrances. I hope you enjoyed your time with me. If you have a lemon forward fragrance that I didn't mention, let us know in the comments below. We'd all love to hear about it. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks to all of you who show up every week, watch my videos, comment, and subscribe and support me. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate it. And with that, I'd love to see you on the next one.